When did the other woman become your best friend? My boyfriend Elijah had been acting weird about his apartment for months, and I'd finally had enough of the excuses. We'd been together for 11 months, and somehow I'd only been to his place twice, both times when his roommate Lauren was supposedly out of town. He always said she worked nights and needed quiet during the day, or that she was going through a rough breakup with her ex-girlfriend and didn't want visitors. I'm one of those people who tries to be understanding about boundaries, so I never pushed it. But lately something felt off. That morning my apartment flooded when the upstairs neighbor's water heater exploded. Suddenly, I needed somewhere to stay while they fixed the damage. I texted Elijah, but he didn't answer, which wasn't unusual since he had meetings all morning. Luckily, he'd given me a spare key a few months ago for emergencies and kept saying I should use it anytime, so I figured this qualified. On my way over, I stopped at his favorite bakery and grabbed fresh croissants and coffee, thinking I'd surprise him with breakfast when he got home for lunch. When I unlocked his door, I heard someone in the kitchen and immediately figured Lauren must have a day off. I walked in, ready to finally meet this mysterious roommate I'd heard so much about. A woman stood at the counter making coffee, and when she turned around, I noticed she was really pregnant, like 7 or 8 months pregnant. She smiled at me, all friendly and warm. She started talking about how I must be from Elijah's office and mentioned something about dropping off files. She rubbed her belly and apologized for being scattered because of pregnancy hormones, then introduced herself as Lauren. I stood there holding the bakery bag, trying to process what was happening. I'm actually Taylor, Elijah's girlfriend. Instantly, her face went completely white, and she gripped the counter, asking me to repeat what I just said. I told her we'd been together almost a year, and my voice came out shakier than I wanted. Lauren stared at me for the longest time, then slowly walked over to the living room and pointed at the mantel. That's our wedding photo. We've been married for 3 years. I looked at the photo and sure enough, there was Elijah in a black tux with his arm around Lauren in a beautiful white dress. My legs felt weak and I had to sit down. Lauren sat across from me and for a moment we just looked at each other, both trying to understand what was happening. I told her he said she was his lesbian roommate going through a bad breakup. She laughed, but it sounded more like crying, and explained that he told her I was a coworker who had a crush on him. She said I kept showing up at his office with coffee and pastries and he felt bad for me. Slowly we started comparing stories and everything clicked into place. All those business trips he took were just him staying home with her. The reason I couldn't come over was obviously because she lived there as his wife, not his roommate. He had 2 phones, one for each of us. When he said he was working late, he was with her, and when he told her he had client dinners, he was with me. Suddenly, Lauren started breathing heavily and clutching her stomach, saying she couldn't handle the stress right now because it wasn't good for the baby. I asked if she needed to go to the hospital, but she said she just needed to sit. After taking some deep breaths, she looked at me with tears in her eyes and explained this was their rainbow baby after 2 years of trying and 2 miscarriages. That's why Elijah had been so attentive lately, because he was worried about this pregnancy. My heart broke for her, even though mine was shattering too. We sat there crying together when suddenly, we heard Elijah's key in the lock. He walked in carrying takeout bags and immediately froze when he saw us together. The look on his face told us everything we needed to know. He tried to play dumb, asking Lauren what was wrong and who I was, but his voice was shaking. Cut the act, Elijah. We know everything, Lauren said. He put the bags down slowly and tried to come toward her, but she held up her hand to stop him. He started babbling about how I meant nothing to him and I was just some girl from work who got the wrong idea. I stood up and told him to stop lying because I had photos and texts, and he'd given me a key to the apartment. At that point, he turned between us trying to figure out who to convince first, then started backing toward the door. He called me a stalker who broke into his apartment and told Lauren she was being hormonal. Without hesitation, Lauren pulled out her phone and announced she was calling her mom to come get her. She said he could explain to her mother why her pregnant daughter was leaving her husband. That's when Elijah really started panicking, but we were done listening. I left while Lauren called her family and Elijah tried desperately to stop her. Later that night, he called me 47 times, but I never answered. 2 weeks later, Lauren texted me, asking if I wanted to get coffee. Turns out she filed for divorce and wanted to thank me for helping her see who Elijah really was. He even signed away his parental rights in exchange for her not going after him for emotional distress. Me and Lauren are still friends now, and I'm actually going to be at the hospital when she has the baby next.